Oladoyijobu, and I'm here in capacity of my work with Serenity Nigeria and World Africa Foundation. Our work focuses on SDG 3, which is good health and well-being, as well as SDG 4, which is quality education. I would like to commend the work done by NG Youth's SDGs, and my take home from today was the admonishing for the fact that it is time for us to get to work. Enough of us, complaining. There's so much more that we can do in our capacities, in our, immediate environment to ensure that we can achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. Thank you very much.
Auditor David Maiwa, and I work with Mind the Gap and the founder of Ivy Lead. At Ivy Lead, we are focused on class captain and school prefect.
Hi everyone, my name is Zachary Emmanuel Mekalma, and I am a spoken word artist, a poet and a writer, advocate for the girl child, brand influencer, and also an SDG advocate. I'm twice as happy to be here because this is completely what I do. SDG, I'm passionate about SDG 16, peace, justice, and strong institution, and most recently, climate action. Today's event, just one word, epic.
And what we do is to groom these guys in the aspect of leadership and empathy. And what I learned here is you can't take all the SDG goals at once. Just take one and run with it.
So very briefly, just so that our audience knows who we have before us, I would like the panelists to take about a minute each to introduce themselves, where they work, what they do, and how that ties to the Sustainable Development Goals. Again, my name is Ferami Yoda. I'm Deputy Director of Programs for Step Up Nigeria. I will start from my right, extreme right. Mr. Kamaldeen, please.
Okay, so good, is it afternoon or morning? So good morning everyone. My name is Afolabi Kamaldeen, the Nigeria Youth Futures Fund Monitoring and Evaluation Specialist, and double as a grant administrator as well. I think basic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Fumilayo Kolprik. I currently work as Senior Programs Officer with AfriLabs. However, in my own capacity, I run an initiative called the Women Economic Empowerment Initiative, and that's all here.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. My name is Samir Michael. I work with Teen Initiative. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. So my name is Rose Kefers. I work for the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs.
Thank you all for joining me this morning. And I am going to start this conversation from my left because she works, on the SDGs as her day job. So I think she'll have some interesting insights for us this morning. I wanted to start off the conversation with Nigeria and the SDGs. So we've adopted the political declaration, we've made the commitments. We've made commitments to also financing the SDGs in Nigeria. How do you say we've worked to aim to keep that commitment over the last couple of years? And you may even allude to there's a new government, is there an additional commitment to this? So in terms of commitment of Nigeria towards fulfilling, what the political declarations and the commitments to financing this in Nigeria, how well has that, been over the last months since you've been in that office?
Okay. So thank you very much. Happy to be here. Happy to see my brother doing initiative, and kudos to CODE, kudos to Nigeria Youth NG. So I was appointed in 2016 and I've worked with them over the years. So before I answer a question, I would like to give, by way of background, what our office is all about, because access to information is very key. Because most people always think when it's time for partnership, they always run to us. But by way of background, our office is the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs. So we are the focal point or focal office on reporting the SDGs. We have fourfold mandate: resource mobilization, partnership, leadership. And so what does that mean based on our mandate? So basically, our office is a coordinating office for Nigeria on the Sustainable Development Goals. And we work horizontally and vertically. So horizontally with the line ministries, which are the ministries, departments, and agencies. So what does that mean? It means the MDAs are the implementing agency for the SDGs. Most people think it's us. So it's not us. If you have issues, how we're going to achieve climate action, the environmental dimension on the SDGs lies with the responsibility of the implementing agency, which is environment and its agencies and every other thing that has to do with the environmental dimension of the SDGs. So we also work with subnational government through the Office of the Governor, and we have our own governance structure where in every MDA we have an SDG desk officer. So in budget planning, environment, even to road safety, we have desk officers on SDGs. And the role of the MDAs is to integrate the SDGs into the sectoral plans, what be it health, water, and all that. They are subnational, we work with the governor, and each state, 36 states and FCT, has a focal point called the SDG focal officer. So usually, depending on the state, they have different nomenclatures. Some have full-fledged ministry on SDGs, like Lagos State, Niger State, and a few, while some just have it as special advisor to the governor, office of the governor. So no matter the nomenclature is, so basically we have how we can work through the MDAs and through the subnational government. So through the desk officers and through the focal point, through the ministers, it trickles down to the desk officers, and also through this. Why am I saying this? Because most young people always come to us. Simea knows this. we partner with people, but guess what? Our office just want to work on skill. So ours is basically on reporting, resource mobilization, partnership that will have multiplier effect on us achieving the SDGs by 2030. So it's just background of our office is. Our office is a secretariat, but we also have, depending on where you're working, you're happy to meet the desk officers in the ministries, depending on your sector, be it health, try and find who the desk officer in the Ministry of Health is, or education, or even depending on the state you're working in. So these are ways, this is how, these are our own mandates, and this is how the government, because our focus is about mainstreaming and integration at the ministry, the department organization, or the subnational level through the government, through the subnational government, through the office of the government. So now back to your question. Yes, I'm just coming from the NESG meeting. My boss spoke, we're midpoint, 7 years, and just to reiterate, the whole world, with only 15% of the target is on track, the whole world, because COVID has happened, so it's easy to abuse Nigeria, it's the whole world. So I've been in GA, some development nations are saying, look, you know what, we're not going to achieve these SDGs. But what the General Assembly was, we're off track, so many crises, from geopolitics to COVID to all sorts of crises. But what can we do to do it better? And here's why the Secretary General of the United States has said, you know what, working with member states, and we have now 12 high impact initiatives. What's this 12 high impact initiatives? Things that will make us accelerate. Let's start running. How do we achieve it? So it's easy for to say, oh, Nigeria is not doing it. It's the whole world. And it's not late. We still have 7 more years to go. So those 12 high impact initiatives on health, renewable energy, climate change, financing for development, data. Even my boss and I were going for the data summit in Uruguay to say, how do we use data to know where we are and what we need to do to run, because time is going, we're midpoint and all that. So back to your political declaration that has been adopted. It was adopted this year. I read it. They said $500 billion, which is good. But, Simea always says it's act local, think global. So for us, as Nigeria, one of the things, there's a 5 billion whatever that was signed, 500 billion signed by the member states in September on how do we accelerate, how do we bridge the financing gap. Yeah, it was adopted, it was signed. But before then, there were processes, which is how, we've seen the financial gap. For Nigeria, we've done a simulation model. We stated we need $100 billion in 2020 before COVID. $100 billion if Nigeria needs to achieve the SDG by 2030. How much is our national budget? So that means for us to achieve as a country, we need $10 billion investment every year. That's pre-COVID. That means, COVID has just scattered everything, and so it's more. Maybe probably if we do the simulation again, it might tell you we need 150. But notwithstanding, people are saying we don't have to give up. So we now UNDP, in partnership with UNDP, is now resulting to integrated national financing framework to operationalize the Addis Ababa Action Agenda. So what does it say? How do you finance sustainable development? Africa, we have money. You are young people. If we start about this government, we will not leave this office today. So basically, it's just the INFF is all about, we have a financial gap. How do we bridge this gap? So, and this is where we're working even from the previous administration on, financing, bridging the financing gap. And we've looked into it. How do we harness domestic, private, and public resources? How do we harness international, public, and private resources? So building on these 4 blocks, what do we need to achieve sustainable development? How do we bridge the financing gap? Public resources cannot do it alone. We've seen the budgets, we know how it is. Even with the whole fuel subsidy removal, we don't even know what will happen to us. Trust me, I'm in government, but it's just like, there's still hope. And this is where Nigeria is at. We're working on the INFF. We're looking at raising $100 million through EU. It's supported by EU and development partners. We've not signed it because the whole administration ended, and we're looking at working with this new administration on it. So basically, that's what the political declaration is talking about. How do we finance sustainable development? And Nigeria has localized its own declaration through the framework of the Integrated National Financing Framework. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we give her a round of applause? In hindsight, I said I needed to give her some time to catch her breath, but that was an excellent introduction to the conversation, giving us a background as to how it's not black or white and the complexities involved in ensuring that we actually achieve these goals. So thank you. And just to give kudos to the Nigerian SDGs team, because this collaboration of people has government, we have civil society, we have business, we have people across youth in all the sectors, and so that's the purpose of this question, to bring all the stakeholders together. So I think I'll move next to Mr. Shemiye, and would like to know a bit more about the initiative. You're giving us free stickers, so we want to know. Where's our I told him we don't have stickers here, but you can tell us a bit about the initiative and what is its role in advancing the SDGs. What are your specific targets and why you chose those to prioritize?
Thanks so much. I want to, I don't know how to put it. I want to run behind my sister because she has provided a very fundamental, background information, which I think will really help us. Knowing much about what we do at DIN, I'm not pitching to donors here. It's of little, although there's a future fund there. But to be critical, it's, a lot of young people have wrong information and approach to how systems work. And good for us, we were one of the organizations that work with OSAP SDG early enough to be able to quickly understand how they work. And the civic space in the recent year and even now, for the young people, is much more than, making a change. It has become a means of livelihood. It has become a means of relevance. And someone talked to me yesterday that we are having a meeting in Rivers, and he said, that there is no stipends for transport in this budget. So I was like, no, it's just a small meeting. He said, no, they will not come. I said, I forgot. These days, it's not about it's not about the change we want to make, because we also are facing a lot of hardship for young people. And then people run to OSAP SDG back then. They thought OSAP is government reservoir for implementation of SDGs, and they received a lot of proposals for funding this and that. And I think, a lot have changed, but much more I still want a situation where we have a broader understanding of how, some of these structures work. And that was how what helped us at TIN. It's not as if we didn't work with OSAP. We work with OSAP excellently well. As a matter of fact, they even co-funded some of the things we did, but we had to, break away to state and, local government level when we understand that the OSAP is just an administrator. They, administer and report on behalf of Nigeria, and they also get some budgetary provision to self-implement certain areas that they identify. But now, for young people, my candid counsel is to go back to, the subnationals, which is even more critical, because these are the places where the real, issues are. Yeah, we went back to start identifying states, brought together states. We have few states that have office of the SDGs under the governorship leadership. Had a bilateral meeting with all of them. Begin to provide. One thing I like about government is that they seem a little difficult, but when you offer them free things, then they are happy and they'll be able to work with you. When we began to offer some of those strategic partnerships with the state, level, doing some free stuff for them, we became friends, with them. And we basically had all the states that had their special advisor to the governor, and then we began to get some resources to work for them, and we began to break down these goals. We were so beclouded before, thinking that we could do all the goals. And as young persons, I'm also going to advise, if you want to get noticed quickly and get support, even if you want to work with all the goals, don't work with all the goals at the same time. Okay, for the past 3 years now, with our global partnership, we've been able to look at what we're focusing on every year, from climate to education, to gender and sanitation and clean water. So we've deployed more of our energy and expertise in the recent time to capacity building, especially for government people whose responsibility is to first and foremost implement some of these projects at the subnational level. In fact, we are almost the only organization that went down to the local government level and building that structure. And at the moment, I'm glad, even though, to be sincere, like Rose said, the world is afraid. That it's not even afraid. We are now very sure that meeting the goal is just, might not be too much of a reality. But the question I kept asking is that after 2030, are we going to stop needing education? We're not going to stop needing water. We're not going to stop needing gender, balance or whatever. That means the goal and the timeline is just a framework to guide, our focus. Once 2030 comes and go, something else will come up, and then we'll continue to chase, what we should chase. I pray we don't die young. As long as we continue to live, we've got a lot of work, to do. And the last, when we come back, I will advise. Because they are back in government now, and then we keep engaging. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think something key that you said is it's not enough that the SDGs are a trendy hashtag that we use on social media and we just hold the goals and take pictures. They have to go beyond superficial, I just want to join the bandwagon effect, and people actually thinking, if I'm going to align with these goals, what can I actually do, in my locality, where I work, where I live, to ensure that we actually meet these goals. Thank you. So we'll move to Funmilayo, and she mentioned about the initiative she has for women and also on the professional side working with AfriLabs, but if you can also just give us a bit of an overview as to how the work you're doing is aligned with the SDGs and which specific goals as well.
Okay, thank you. So I specifically focused on the gender equality, and which was why I liked the point that you said in just taking one goal, focus on it, and seeing the impact that that goal is making. So currently, I'm the director of an initiative called the Women Economic Empowerment Initiative, and the goal for the next 1 year is to support 5,000 women across communities, underserved communities in Abuja here. One of the things that we decided to do is that we've picked those women in cohorts. So currently we're training 500 women. Excuse me, and it is a private funded initiative. It's not funded by the government or any, it's somebody actually, an individual that has said, this is what I want to do for women, and gave us the funds to run this initiative, and is going to do it for the next 1 year. And I think that that's what we need to begin to do. Yes, the government has funding, and I hear funding all the time. There's no fund, there's no money, but really, even as an individual, there's always, people always complain, I don't have money. So how do you as an individual pick? The goal is to do this till 2030. What chunk of it am I going to do? Because again, I'm living in this world, I'm interacting with people. And so we started to train the women. We realized that someone comes and say, oh, I don't have money for my children, I don't have money. How do you support these women so that they can learn skills, that they can begin to, train their children or even support their homes? Currently, we have a woman who learned popcorn, and I can tell you, she's in my church, right? I introduced her, she's taking the training, and we've currently done about 6 weeks, right? And this woman is already selling popcorn, so she comes with her bag of popcorn to the church, and people are buying 200. Before you know it, how much is she going to make, right? And if this is replicated across women, imagine how they begin to have small change to support their own families. But on a broader scale, the work that I do at AfriLabs, we focus on a number of the SDGs. We do gender equality. We're currently running the Rev Up Women Initiative, which runs across, the pilot phase is currently running across 5 countries: Cameroon, Kenya, South Africa, Nigeria, and the DRC. And what we're doing is, the goal is to train 50,000 women. Right. The first cohort is also currently ongoing, and we've seen investors who are looking at funding female-led businesses. Now, the reason why we developed that initiative is because we realized that if you look at the funding index for last year, only 4% went to female-led businesses, and so we've seen it, and we developed this initiative not just to say, oh, we want to fund women, but really there is a challenge with tailor-made solutions to women. So for example, if you're running a female-led initiative and you bring a man to come and be their mentor. Now, no offense, of course, men have the concepts, they understand things, but if a man is being a mentor to a woman who owns a sole proprietorship, by the time she's pregnant, what happens to her business? Is that man able to mentor her effectively to know what solutions that she can use to run her business at that time? I mean, there are different challenges that women face that men may not be able to understand, right? And so we designed that tailor-made program. We've also done a lot of work around climate action. We're currently working with the Global Center on Adaptation to support entrepreneurs and to fund them also. We've done work around quality education, capacity building for entrepreneurs, capacity building for business owners across Africa. And so that's how the work that we do specifically links to the SDGs.
Thank you especially for the admonishment that sometimes the limiting factors are ourselves and in our minds, and if we allow ourselves to think a bit outside the box, we realize that we do not necessarily need a millionaire to put, as Shadrach said, a needle towards the achieving the SDGs. So thank you. I'll be moving to Mr. Kamaldeen, who is representing Nigerian Youth Mutual Funds. And speaking around youth, I wanted you to speak a bit about NYFF and how that's driving youth participation in governance, but also in terms of the goals and the development sector as a whole. What gaps do you see in terms of youth involvement, and how do you think we can invest more in youth talent in Nigeria to achieve this?
All right, thank you, and firstly, I would love to appreciate the speakers. Those speakers spoke earlier before mine, and I'm happy to be part of the program today. Nigeria Youth Futures Fund is a collaborative effort of Mercator, Ford Foundation, and Zip Africa, with seeded with around $5 million projects between these two organizations, that's Makato and Food Foundation. Now we have Luminate, recently joined the organization with another 900,000. So this fund is around the volume of around $5.9 million for now. And we are looking up to maybe other supports from different organizations so that we can be able to achieve to reach the targets that we set for the funding. So we conceived this idea came from the learning from the series of social movements in recent time, maybe like the NSAS, like Not Too Young to Run and the likes. And from there we look at it from the angle, the stakeholders look at it from the angle of having a better engagement plan in such a way that we'll be able to engage properly beyond the anogly side, to be able to contribute to the policy, to strategic plan, and some of the roadmaps that the country will be following in terms of development. And aligning with this, we have 3 pillars to the project: the national visioning process, the youth leadership development, and the online and media engagement. So we look at the national visioning side from the angle of creating vision for the youth. This side accommodates something around strategic plan. What are the policies that we feel we are?
Hello everyone, my name is Gabriel Yashim and I am a data scientist, but I currently work with Ivy Lead, that is I volunteer for leadership. And at Ivy Lead, what we do is we provide an opportunity for growth and capacity development for youth and young people. And my major takeaway from today's event is capacity building. First of all, that is, you have to be able to give out value, and also collaboration. Collaboration is it's actually key in driving out whatever initiative you're trying to drive out.
Hi everyone, I am Ayumi, a social impact advocate, passionate about children and adolescents in underserved communities. I work majorly with the SDG group before, quality education, and I am so grateful to be part of this assembly today. One key thing I learned: opportunities are everywhere, but they meet those that are prepared.
My name is Dr. Shadrach. I'm the project manager with the Nigerian SDGs network. The Abuja People's Assembly, which is a fragment of, or a component of the Nigerian People's Assembly, has been a monumental success. The conversations that have happened here, and engagements that we have all listened to speak to one thing: we need to be more ambitious, we need to partner more, we need to close the deployment gaps as far as building programs and projects around the sustainable goals are concerned. We have gone past half of this already, closing into 2030, and it means that we must now look at more creative ways to be able to address the challenges that affect, most importantly, the huge youth demographic block that exists in this country. From us at the Nigerian Youth SDGs network, what we are assuring is that we are going to reach out more, we are going to demand more partnerships, we are going to demand more engagement, and we'll see how we will spread more of this engagement across other parts of the country too, so that we provide more platforms for young people to be able to share their concerns, share their challenges, and see how we build solutions creatively and in a very collaborative manner. We are excited to have had all of you come and look forward to more exciting things happening. Thank you.